Hello and welcome to Frontrunner Motorsport. This week saw the news of a huge milestone for women in motorsport. Jessica Hawkins became the first female to drive a modern Formula 1 car in the last 5 years, when she took a 2-year-old Aston Martin AMR 21 for a little jaunt around Budapest, alongside fellow Aston employee and reserve Formula 1 driver Felipe Drugovich. This is apparently a big enough deal to get mentioned in various motoring circles, yet to me, it's not exactly the huge history-making moment others have made it out to be. It's just a little sad, showing the continued failure of programs like the W Series and eventually the F1 Academy in trying to get a woman into Formula 1 for the first time since 1976, nearly 50 years ago. Jamie Chadwick always looked like the closest to reaching this goal, but she has had a tough year in Indy NXT. She doesn't have a super license, even after winning the W Series every time it ran, and has now missed out on another, albeit slim, opportunity after the Rodin team were told they would not be allowed in Formula 1 despite promising to have a female driver, which would have ticked the FIA's box. So it looks like Jamie Chadwick will remain exiled to the States for at least another year, and Jessica Hawkins is as close as a female driver will get to a Formula 1 drive. The W Series ended as an embarrassing mess, cancelling rounds mid-season with none of the women involved moving on to better things. Jamie Chadwick may have become a Williams Academy driver, and others may have found opportunities because of the W Series, but no one really benefited, and no one made their way onto the Formula 1 career ladder. The only female Formula 2 driver ever is Tatiana Calderon, and this is going back to the start of GP2 in 2005. Calderon has hardly set the world alight, never scoring points in her year and a half in Formula 2, before not scoring points in Super Formula, struggling in IndyCar, and is now mostly anonymous in various endurance series, most recently the European Le Mans with Team Virage. No other woman has come closer to Formula 1 since Giovanna Amati failed to qualify at the 1992 Brazilian Grand Prix for a soon-to-be defunct Brabham team. Women have tested Formula 1 cars. Even Tatiana Calderon was an Alfa Romeo test driver until 2021, but none have really looked like they were being lined up for a Formula 1 seat. So why is that? Are women just not good enough? Is it a strength thing? Or is it just a failure to help female race drivers get the connections and backing necessary to launch a Formula 1 career? Are you really going to tell me no women are better drivers than Nikita Mazepin or Sakon Yamamoto? I could scrape my foot fungus into a Formula 1 cockpit and it would outdrive those guys. So it isn't a question of talent, and opportunities, especially recently, have been made. A slew of women have become members of F1 teams' academies, taking part in events and test sessions in older cars, but that final step has not been taken. When Jamie Chadwick won the first W Series all the way back in 2019, she should have been a Formula 3 driver in 2020. I do believe that if a woman is to get onto the Formula 1 grid, it should be by merit. But that path has to be opened in a fair way. The F1 Academies had a rough start to life, but the fact F1 teams are now directly involved in the future of the series may give it a much better chance of pushing a female driver into the limelight. But they have to move on to Formula 3 and Formula 2 before they are given an opportunity in Formula 1. That brings me on to Sophia Flörsch. She has had a couple of seasons in Formula 3 and has launched herself through a giant screen at Macau at one time. She failed to score any points for Campos back in 2020, but in the year 2023 she had a decent enough year for PHM, scoring the team's only points. But when a Formula 2 seat opened up after Brad Benavides suddenly disappeared for reasons I'm sure have nothing to do with a severe lack of ability, PHM went for Josh Mason. Josh Mason is a decent enough young talent, but he is woefully inexperienced to be suddenly plunged into Formula 2 head first. He has at least survived in some difficult races, but he has been given penalties, stalled on the grid and had a couple of spins. Could be worse, but he still hasn't come out of it smelling like roses. But why was he given the chance ahead of Sophia Flörsch? Josh Mason is a Euro Formula race winner, but that is the height of his experience. Sophia Flörsch has raced at Le Mans several times, she has experience in Formula 3 and DTM, and she crashed at Macau that one time. She is infinitely more qualified for a Formula 2 drive. She wouldn't be my first choice, but Josh Mason, really? You could argue for Josh Mason and Sophia Flörsch with Roy Nissany relegated to toilet scrubber, but I guess it's a money thing. Sophia Flörsch is the best of the 8 drivers who have raced for PHM in Formula 2 and Formula 3 in 2023, and yet I feel it is unlikely she'll get a move up to Formula 2, or even with a more competent team in Formula 3. She should get ready to focus on the World Endurance Championship because I think that will give her the best opportunity for a top drive in the near future. Meanwhile, Josh Mason and Roy Nissany will continue to embarrass themselves in Abu Dhabi come November. One last thought for this video, and I am setting foot on dodgy ground here. Remember when debates flared up about trans individuals participating in female sporting events, specifically Leah Thomas winning a swimming event in America? Why are there no trans racing drivers? It makes the most sense. No need to debate whether it's morally right or wrong, it doesn't matter either way. Why would you want to be the first controversial trans pole vaulting champion when you could drive a Porsche round the Nordschleife? The only trans racer I know of is Charlie Christina Martin, and I know she has had links with Formula E. I'm not sure if that was a testing thing or is just something like a experience kind of deal. But you would think more trans people would attempt to go around controversy by participating in sports where gender doesn't make a difference, at least to the actual sport itself. There are plenty of race seats across a variety of race series around the world. I think the FIA can get just about everybody involved in motorsport if it really wanted to, as long as they have at least 10 grand in disposable income. So I know this may be a bit of a strange video to do. I haven't done anything else all week, but unfortunately I've had a cold, and I don't think you want to listen to me snorting and sneezing. I could have done a video about Nick de Vries going to Mahindra in Formula E next year, but that's just kind of sad. How fast he has fallen. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Hopefully more content incoming if I can stay sickness free for more than 5 minutes. I blame my kids. Thanks for watching and have a good one.